Hey everyone, today we're diving into something really important to identity verification in our digital age. It's not just a buzzword, it's a necessity.
With identity fraud on the rise, especially in Africa, we need to talk about what's happening and how we can protect ourselves. So, let's kick things off with some key stats from the 2025 Digital Identity Fraud in Africa report.
It's pretty staggering to see how sophisticated fraud tactics are becoming. Just think about it, generative AI and deepfakes are real game changers.
They're making it easier for fraudsters to manipulate identities, and that's a scary thought. Now, if we look at the different regions in Africa, each has its own, unique challenges when it comes to fraud.
In East Africa, for example, there are the highest cases of document fraud. It's wild. Meanwhile, West Africa is basically the epicenter of biometric fraud.
And then you've got Central Africa dealing with increased rejection rates, which is just heartbreaking. Southern Africa isn't off the hook either, with rising attempts using outdated documents. It's like a never-ending cycle, and it's really concerning. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into something that's super important, especially in our digital age: identity verification and the rise of identity fraud.
So, grab a seat, and let's unpack this together. It's kind of wild when you think about it. Identity fraud is becoming more sophisticated every day. Just look at the 2025 Digital Identity Fraud in Africa report.
It highlights some staggering statistics that really hit home. We're talking about an increase in fraud cases across the continent, which is just alarming.
It's affecting not just businesses, but all of us on a personal level. So, let's explore the landscape of identity fraud. It's not just your typical scams anymore. We're seeing these high-tech tactics emerging like, generative AI and deepfakes. These technologies are making it easier for fraudsters to create convincing identities that can fool even the most vigilant systems. It's like every time we take a step forward in tech, these criminals find a way to catch up.
It's frustrating. Now, if we break it down regionally, things get even more interesting. In East Africa, for instance, document fraud cases are skyrocketing. And then there's West Africa, which has become the epicenter of biometric fraud.
It's like a game of cat and mouse, and the stakes are getting higher. Central Africa is seeing increased rejection rates, while Southern Africa is grappling with rising fraud attempts using legacy documents. It's a complicated web, and it can feel overwhelming. But here's where technology steps in. Biometric verification is becoming crucial, way more effective than those traditional methods we've relied on for so long.
But it's a double-edged sword, right? AI can help combat fraud, but it can also facilitate it. I've seen some really successful fraud prevention strategies out there, and it gives me a little hope.
It's like we're not completely helpless in this situation. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Businesses are facing some major challenges. There are vulnerabilities in fintech platforms and KYC protocols that are just asking for trouble.
And then there's this whole identity farming phenomenon. What even is that? It's scary to think about how these things can affect our lives. So, what can we do? Business leaders need to step up. There are actionable steps that can be taken to enhance fraud prevention. Collaboration between industries and governments is key. We all need to be on the same page if we want to tackle this issue effectively.
As we wrap up, I just want to emphasize the importance of adaptability in fraud prevention. We can't just sit back and hope for the best. There's always room for improvement in our identity verification practices.
So, I'm calling on all of you, let's stay informed and proactive about this. And hey, if you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic.
It's really essential that we keep this conversation going. Reflecting on all of this, it's kind of cathartic, honestly. It's intense to think about how fraud impacts so many lives, and it can feel overwhelming.
But acknowledging these challenges is the first step. I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk about this and share what we're learning. Let's keep pushing for better solutions together. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.